So one of the most interesting elements that I feel is emerging out of this move to remote work is that big companies are like the good jobs that were typically maybe all in Silicon Valley or all in New York. Now anyone can have those jobs, whether you're in cities that aren't quite as big or maybe in more rural areas. So this is a very exciting development. It also opens up, the employment pool to folks that were maybe, previously not accessing that pool. It could be, working mothers that have difficulty, getting in and out of the office, or the chronically ill and disabled, and it was a challenge for them to travel and commute every day to work. Rural residents, as I said, or Black workers or other underrepresented minorities that just didn't have access to certain networks or certain locations to get in and get these types of jobs. So as this model is taking root and it's moving, remote work moving from the margin to the mainstream, it's changing that hiring equation. What are some of the biggest adjustments that you are seeing for HR departments, or what are some suggestions that you have that they need for tapping into some of these new pockets of talent?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we want to take a look at is the long-term effects of this drastic and a quick change to remote working. And that is, I think, over time, it's going to be a leveling out of resources in locations. So, for example, you're going to find an increase of people working remote in potentially traditionally non-technical areas or remote locations. And then the cities are potentially going to have a decrease in some of those workers as people may move out to the more remote regions. And I think from HR perspective, we need to broaden our reach as to who and what talent we want to maintain and what are the rules that we're going to work with and with the hiring managers to say, hey, if I'm looking, how broad do you want me to look? Like, for example, traditionally pre-COVID, we would say, I need a person in this specific city within 20 miles so that they can make it to work every day. They have to be in the office. But now we can say, look, spread or broaden that to a region wide location, because if they do need to come into the office, we do want them to have the ability to do so in a reasonable amount of time. But our reach needs to now get more broad. And so thinking about things like LinkedIn or different job services to try to broaden our talent pool to a more regional perspective, I think is going to be important.
And I would agree with that. So, as I said before, we're remote first, which basically means we've tried to set up different hubs in different regions and create some boundaries around that hub of how easy via plane or even car it would be for an employee to get to that hub if people need to congregate together or if we want to spend a weekend together and hang out and get to know each other. So that's kind of how we're doing it. As a leader and a management team, we absolutely love it. I feel like it has completely opened up the landscape for us in terms of talent. It is interesting, though, being a smaller company. And before COVID, it was a highlighting factor to get someone to essentially take a little bit of a pay cut from a Google or an Amazon to come and work with us. And so now it's interesting, how you pitch to a potential high performing employee. So we're doing it kind of hub based, regional based, as Suzanne said.